Hey guys, welcome to another show with me on Knives or Words. My name is Yewande, and as you all know, this is a platform for geopolitical analysis as well as local political analysis and major trending topics within and outside Nigeria. Welcome again, welcome, good people. Thank you for all your views in the last show, last post. Excuse me. Really appreciate it. It was far beyond my expectations. And I'm looking forward to another good time with you, good people, again today. All right. So let's get into the topics of the day. Yeah. So today we'll be talking about the Daniel Bwala and Mehid Hassan's interview saga that scattered the whole country on social media for a week and then put to DK's deliverance. I don't even know how to quantify that. So, guys, let's get into it. All right. So, Mehid Hassan hosted Daniel Mbwala on Al Jazeera head to head in an interview that covered insecurity and the politics of the APC's government and the country at large. All right, so today I will be playing the interview and be reacting to it as we watch it together. Okay, so we're not going to go through the whole thing. Okay, so we'll just pick some of the important things and let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. So here we are.
2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is elected president of Nigeria,
Peace,
promising to tackle the nation's widespread insecurity and address two of its root causes, poverty and corruption.
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria.
Nearly 3 years later, international attention is back on the country, with the US launching strikes as a, quote, Christmas present, claiming Nigeria is failing to stop a genocide against its Christian population. But whilst the Nigerian government denies these claims, there's no disputing that wider insecurity is spreading. My guest tonight was once one of the president's fiercest critics, but now serves as his official spokesperson and special advisor, defending the president's efforts to renew hope for Nigeria. I'm Mehdi Hassan, and tonight I go head-to-head with Daniel Bwala. I'll challenge him on Trump's Christian genocide claims, the Nigerian government's failures to protect its own people, and whether President Tinubu profits from corruption.
From the very beginning, you can actually know the direction of the interview. Like, you can tell the direction of the interview. This is gonna be crazy.
I'll also be joined by our panel of experts. Anu Adeoye, a journalist with the Financial Times, Aisha Osori, a lawyer and development expert with Open Society Foundations, and
let's just get on
chairman of the APC ruling party's UK chapter. Daniel Bwala, thank you so much for joining me on Head to Head. Nigeria is a proud, sovereign, independent nation, a powerhouse in Africa. So why did you just let Donald Trump and the United States bomb your country on Christmas Day?
Who starts an interview like this? You're never going to get any truth out of this guy. Like, you know, who starts an interview like this? I actually did a deep dive into the guy because when I heard the first question, I was like, this guy cannot be a journalist. He cannot be a trained journalist, really. Like, you couldn't have actually gone through the walls of a school as a graduate in journalism. Like, who starts an interview like this? Because the thing is this: if you start an interview like this, what you get is an interviewee who immediately erects a wall around him or herself, and then it's very hard for you to actually crawl on those walls to dig out any form of truth or right information from them. It's the opposite if you're a trained journalist. A trained journalist makes you very comfortable at first. They make you so comfortable that in that comfort, it gets to a point where you out yourself. And when you out yourself, they pounce. That's Jesus. It's awful. It started really bad.
The United States government did not bomb our country. The decision by the US government was anchored on the intelligence sharing between Nigeria and the United States and the agreement on the operation. So Donald Trump just didn't bomb Nigeria on his own whim? No. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, called our own foreign affairs minister when the decision was made that that was the time to strike, and the foreign affairs minister got in touch with the president. So this was a joint operation, you're saying? Yes, it was a joint operation. On the Nigerian... What I don't understand is, how can it be a joint operation? Yeah. Donald Trump says that there is a genocide going on against Christians carried out by Muslims with your government turning a blind eye. You've called that narrative a hoax. You said it creates discord in Nigeria. Right. So when Donald Trump says he's bombing Nigeria to protect Christians from a genocide, is he lying? We both disagree as to whether the so-called genocide in Nigeria was against Christians. We believe that it is a targeted killing by insurgents, Boko Haram bandits, and all of these criminal elements against the people of Nigeria, Christians, Muslims, and those who have not identified with any religion. Donald Trump believed it is Christians. We now felt, rather than arguing about whether it is against Christians or not, there is one area we both agree, that we have a joint interest in the fight against terrorism. But you're fine
which is all right.
His motivation.
It does not matter though. His motivation is helping me. Whether he believes it's Christian or not, it does not bear anything on getting the job done, bro. Like, it's trying to like...
It's something you disagree with. You think it's a hoax? Yes, because... So when Donald Trump says there's a genocide against Christians in Nigeria, is he telling the truth? It is a half-truth. In the sense that, yes, Christians have been affected. But the whole truth is that both Christians, Muslims, and those who have not...
That's what I'm saying. Like, because it didn't go his way, the first question didn't go his way, he then went on a personal, attack. Like, yeah, a little bit more polite tonight. I feel he's making it hard for himself, really. I don't know. It just feels like he's making a job that they had. But I've actually gone through a series of his interviews, and this is how he does his thing.
I said the narrative of Christian genocide was
good for our algorithm, though.
Opinion. Everybody's entitled to it. Is he right or wrong? We believe there is a targeted killing of all Nigerians. Evidence has shown. And that is where we are focused on fighting terrorism. So let's talk about the terrorism. Right. Trump claimed he targeted, quote, ISIS terrorist scum. Right. And every camp got decimated. But a lot of investigative reporting on the ground shows that few, if any, combatants were killed. Some bombs landed in empty fields. A local leader in one of the districts said, the same militants we knew are still there, loitering around our communities. No, there were killings of terrorists. That's not what local leaders... So I can call local television that testified. Arise News did, Channels Television did. Okay. So there was the killing of you're not on the ground with respect. No, I didn't. Al-Haji Bunu, who's the traditional ruler of the district, says, we saw no dead bodies, even where the bombs fell. Those are his words. No, because the bomb didn't fall in the town. It was at the camp. That enclave where they gathered.
Like, this cracks me up, though. The bombs didn't fall in the town. Where they gathered. Like, it was a Times Square, a Market Square gathering, and the bomb just fell in their middle. Kaboom! I guess the terrorists have a settlement that they targeted. It's not like they knew first. They told them to be holding a meeting, and they caught them off guard or something. I don't know. It's just Bola made sound.
You okay with having the Americans bomb Nigerian people's homes?
I'm not aware of that one.
You're not aware of Moriniki Saka, who said, I began to scream for help. I had to crawl my way out of the room. The missile tore through her apartment building, according to the Washington Post. How about Musa Soliu? I was in my room. I was buried under the ruins. I don't know how to restart my life. My belongings are destroyed.
Houses were not destroyed.
Are you telling us that Nigerian citizens are lying about
No.
being bombed by the
I
US?
am saying that the military operation that was conducted on that day was targeted as terrorists, and we hit them.
You have a history of not...
We hit them. We hit them. We got them. We hit them. But as Nigerians, we actually didn't get any feedback. We only heard they hit them, but how many terrorists were hit? Give us a view, a shot of the events, anything to just buttress that point, please.
Hitting terrorists and hitting civilians, you know that, right? Your country.
I'm not aware.
Oh, well, on December 21st, the Nigerian Air Force said that they handed over compensation to people who were hit in an accidental airstrike on Christmas Day 2024. Do you just bomb every Christmas?
When and when?
Christmas Day 2024 and Christmas Day 2025.
I dispute that fact.
We'll take it up with the Nigerian Air Force. Let me ask you this. Since President Tinubu came to office in 2023, the situation has worsened in your country. You have a mixture of militant groups, you have bandits, you have clashes between herders and farmers.
We also have
Nigeria is now...
incursion of foreign interest in Nigeria.
Nigeria is now the 5th deadliest country in the world. Are you proud of that record?
I acknowledge the fact that we have insecurity in Nigeria.
Good.
And until the hoax narrative of the Christian genocide, then we began to see back-to-back attack in Nigeria we had for the first 2 years of the president's administration, a substantial peace in Nigeria.
Actually, the number of deaths went up on the president's watch.
After this incident of a Christian genocide. And by the way,
when did that begin?
There is no country of the world today that is free from insecurity.
No,
there
I
are
agree.
parts of London
That's why
you
I
can't go
asked...
in the evening.
You see that's where I fault Bola, because don't divert your questions to comparison. It just kind of gives the vibe that you're running away from something. It's insurgents or terrorism didn't start in your administration, and that is the truth. But your administration should be doing something about it, and that's what you should be talking about, what you are doing about it, really, instead of trying to compare. I think that is where he's shooting himself in the foot. Let's continue.
We're not bombing London to root out militant training camps.
But you have had so many of the bombing on behalf of the United Kingdom by the United States.
Since you're making rather spurious comparisons.
No, the context
11,000 people were killed in conflict in Nigeria in 2025. That is up from 8,700 in 2023. That is a 26% increase in the number of Nigerians killed since your party and your president came to office. That's a pretty awful record.
It's awful.
Is it? It's awful. We are doing our best. like, no, but that's the context of it. Like, I know, I agree with you. It's awful. You want us to kill ourselves? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from it. What do you want to do about it?
We're fighting hard day and night, but that's one of the reasons why the president traveled to Turkey, where we had bilateral agreement to deal with insecurity. That's why we're cooperating with the United States of America. That's why we're cooperating with any country of the world. The reason is because since 9/11, terrorism is a global phenomenon.
Agreed.
And so every country is involved in it.
But it's getting worse in Nigeria. That's the problem.
I don't agree with that too. Like, how can you say terrorism is worse in Nigeria? The Hezbollah, what do they call themselves? The terrorists in Palestine and in Gaza. Like, how can you compare Nigeria's terrorism with the likes of those? Like, that is crazy. Like, that is crazy. Come on. And then you just said you are the 5th worst country when it comes to insecurity. So how are you going to say terrorism is getting worse in Nigeria when you have like 4 countries ahead of them who have it bad or that have it bad?
When I gave you the numbers. So 8,700 killed in 2023, right. 11,000 killed in 2025.
people were killed in the United States last
It's
year.
getting worse,
conflict-related
but
violence.
also it
This
is
not a
worse.
conflict. This is an act of terrorism.
Okay. So how many people were killed in the United States in terrorism? It wasn't 11,000.
This is part of what Donald Trump many years ago in his first time classified the Western media as what fake news. The reason is because context matter.
This is not Western media.
You
right?
are well
This is
aware.
not Western media.
Yes, I understand, but
This
you
is
are.
the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data. ACLED, the most respected group that counts conflict-related violence around the world.
Let me ask you, where there is a terrorist
I could also
attack,
give
do
you
call
another
that an armed
source.
conflict?
I mean, National Human Rights Commission. This is a Nigerian group. 2,266 people were killed by bandits or insurgents in the first half of 2025. That's more than were killed in all of 2024. You are failing. Amnesty International says you are failing at security. The numbers don't lie.
It's unfortunate, and as a government,
And it's getting worse.
we're working day and night
And it's
to deal
getting
with
worse.
that situation. I don't agree to the fact that it's getting
How
worse.
can it not get worse if more people die in 1 year than the previous year?
Context matters.
What's the context?
The context is not getting worse.
What?
Yes.
He was dazed. The contest is not getting worse. He was dazed about that. That was crazy though.
The context is not getting worse.
The context is that it is not getting worse because you see, this is a water, right?
Okay.
If you have the water half, you could say half glass filled or half empty.
Yeah.
Isn't it right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the Western media always see Nigeria, Africa, and some of the activities in Africa as half empty. Excuse me. But we see it as half full because when we look at it, and when I say context matter, before the president took the oath of office, we knew the situation in Nigeria.
Put the cup down, bro.
Worse, when he made the
Put the
decision
cup down, bro.
to take bold step,
Are you trying to conjure the gods?
we were well aware of the fact that it was going to incense lots of people.
Okay.
We are also
You
aware.
make your point.
Like, wait,
I get the context.
looking at
I
the
also
cup.
understand basic mathematics. Let me ask you this. President Tinubu only declared a national emergency in November of 2025, brought in a raft of policy changes after Trump declared your country to be a country of particular concern for failure to deal with the threat of Christians. Does your government only spring into action when it is internationally shamed into doing so?
Unfortunately for you, 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. The interviewee gets defensive in this kind of atmosphere. What is unfortunately for you? Like, whatever you came to say on the show is not about the interviewer. It's not about Mehid Hassan, but it became a personality banter. It became a, interview is, at some point, it was looking like a conflict. By this point,
Months before that, we arrested the leaders of Lakurawa and Boko Haram. Some months before that, we killed a certain number of terrorists that the U.S. government, State Department, commended Nigeria. The U.S. Embassy celebrated the fact of the experts of Nigeria before Donald Trump said that.
But again, he shamed you and you declared a national emergency. You didn't do it before he shamed you.
We declared the national emergency 6 months before Donald Trump said that.
But that's not true.
The president
of November of 2025.
No. Much earlier, around I think April or May, the president declared national emergency on insecurity.
that's
Ridiculous thing to say, is it not?
We investigate
2026.
Well, I'm not aware of that one.
You're not aware of that one.
I am aware. I'm aware.
At the weekend, you put out a video to music of you and a team researching and prepping for this show. And yet every time I've asked you something, you say, I'm not aware of that. What were you researching in that video?
Let's not continue watching. It's a long video. I think it's about 49 minutes, 30 seconds. That's a whole lot. And when I watched it, right, I'll just summarize. If you want to watch the entire video, you can do that. This is the link, I think, Al Jazeera English. Yeah, so you can watch there. So what I realized from the interview was that first, Mahid Hassan was the attack on Boala was not necessary. If you're trying to get information from an interviewee, if you're trying to make them out themselves, they will do it when they are calm, when they are comfortable. You don't need to stress yourself about, trying to like come with this attacking, not making them feel easy in their own skin, so they will actually know what you're about, who you are, this is how you do it. And given the fact that he actually wrote a book called Win All Arguments, something like that, when I saw that, I was like, oof, okay, this is all he's about, really. Because there's no way the guy is, um, there's no way the guy is a learned journalist. Let's just put it that way. When I mean learned, like he didn't pass through school studying journalism, and so I want to do a deep dive on him, and I realized uh, he studied in the field of. He has a bachelor's degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. So he did not study journalism. He only studied these aspects of art, right? And the nitty gritty of what it is to be a journalist is not there. And that is what I'm saying. Like in recent days, I've realized that people um, take to journalists who strike them on personality level, because when I saw the interview at first, everybody was like, Mehida-san, Mehida-san. We were not talking about head to head, right? We were talking about Mehida-san. So I wanted, like, okay, who is this guy? Like, the real reason why I actually watched it was I wanted to see, like, okay, if they are saying he actually really bashed this guy, there must be some level of intelligence there. And I was really disappointed, really. Not that he's not intelligent, but I will accuse to him more of smartness than intelligence, because there are a lot of times that he actually kind of countered himself on some of the points that were raised. While on the other hand, I think he diverted some questions wrongly. In a situation where a question is being posed to you and you have to like find the comparison with other countries, I think it makes you weak. It puts you in the weak light, So when a question is posed to you, you have to confront the question. You have to come at the question the best way you can. And most of the time, he was just, being funny and being Nigerian about it. It was just like, I said it was awful. So, it's awful. That's why we are doing everything we can. We are hitting that there, but it was a crazy interview altogether. And just like I suspected, Mehida-san is not a trained journalist. I won't say not a trained journalist because he has experience in the field, but he did not study journalism. I think it's as simple as that. He didn't study journalism, and it went further and further and further and further. So to me, and then in terms of sources, I think Maeda-san actually used some sources that to me were not really credible enough. I think he kept citing this Afrobarometer, and when I went to research them, I was able to get this out that the risk and the challenges to their gathering of information or reports. Is talked about political sensitivity in authoritarian context. Respondents may hesitate to give honest answers. So sometimes they are trying to say sometimes some of their reports can be lies, which already discredits them. Sampling limits. So while representative surveys cannot capture every nuance of diverse African societies, so sometimes their reports are not enough to actually come to a credible conclusion. Resource constraints. Large-scale surveys are expensive and logistically complex, which can affect frequency and depth. So they're just saying sometimes they don't actually get all their facts right. In simple words, you could bringing that to the show and quoting it. I think it's a negative on Mahid's part. If he's saying he's a journalist, I think Mahid should have stuck with the Nigerian news reports, news outlets or platforms. It would have been okay. So that is it about the Daniel Mbwala's interview. But let me also say that I realized that looking through YouTube and some articles even, the interview was actually used as a political, how will I put it, a political toss-up. You know, people that they call themselves the netizens, people that support Peter Obi are kind of like amplifying the fact that Angola performed bad. I get, his performance in terms of tackling some of the questions were not responsive enough. But there's no bashing if the interviewer himself is actually not being accurate and factual with his sources. Number one, he does not have a first-hand experience. Number two, you bringing someone, an interviewee to your platform is because you want to get informations out that you can actually go back and forth on, for you to have clarity about it. You don't know anything about Nigeria. And if somebody is seated, a representative of the government of Nigeria, he definitely knows some things that you don't know. And so I'm not saying the guy can't come on your platform to lie. I'm just saying that you listening to him instead of, trying to quote, you listening to him will have actually helped you to, get the weakness of his own angle of discussion, and you can get more clarity from there. Easy peasy. Ask your questions, get clarity, and then you move from there. So I think the other camp that are not APC just festered on it. So I don't think it was much of a big deal, really. After everything being said and done, I don't think, even with the panels that came to talk there, now we know what is going on in the country. Some of Mehid's points were also valid, and it is what it is. All right. So we'll move to the next agenda, and that is our beloved sister in the Lord. All right, guys. Here we go. See, this is the problem I have with spiritual elders in the country, especially Christian spiritual elders, because the Muslim clerics, the Muslim elders, actually, when something works against the Muslim Islamic religion, pardon me, they voice out their opinion. They clamp down on what they feel it's wrong, and they're vocal. They're very vocal about things, just to make sure that everybody in the Islamic faith actually know what is expected from them and how to behave. And it's I don't know how to put it. I don't want to use the most offensive words, but it's kind of appalling. It's kind of shameful when things like this happen and Christian spiritual leaders are not saying anything about it. Not that they can't say the truth, but they are not saying anything about it. And I think, honestly, the Christian community always kind of deal with matters in-house. They kind of call their disciples, their members or followers, and they trash things out in-house. They don't, spread their lenience in public, so to speak, which is fine, which is okay. I don't necessarily care that I don't necessarily care if spiritual leaders actually call her behind closed doors and like, things are not done that way. Okay, this is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. But in terms of public perception too, because it's a movement, right? You are expecting people to share your ideas, your ideology of, Christianity, putting people straight and putting people through. It's also a good thing, all right? Seeing what Tonto is doing here, actually, I have something to say, but I want us to watch this from beginning to the end. So I'm sorry to quote the source. I'm getting this from Niger Gist Direct. So that is the source I'm getting this from. So let's watch this.
Hi guys, welcome back to Niger Gist Direct. Born again actress Tonto Dike performed her first miracle as she removed marine spirit from a young girl months after revealing that God has called her to minister. Posting the video of the miracle of how God used her to deliver the young girl from marine kingdom, she wrote, "Today, God allowed me to see a glimpse of the ministry He has placed upon."
All right, it's not that deep, really. What she wrote there, but certain things. I'm a Christian myself, so, and I have had experiences as a Christian. First and foremost, a spiritual leader, if you have gone through a spiritual, foundation, you will know. I'm not a pastor, neither did I go to theology school. But deliverance are not done this way. As a Christian, you don't necessarily need to have physical contact with who you are delivering. Whether you're a baby Christian or you are an elder, deliverance can be done. It's the word that is spoken. Christians believe so much in the word of God, and they believe that the words of God are enough to manifest His power. So you don't need to strong arm someone down. On the other hand, I was thinking okay, if the girl probably fell, or she's probably agitated and she's moving a lot, right? Sometimes people just go everywhere. I feel like the condition is still not right, because I'm looking under the girl and it's kind of stony. The platform she's lying down on is rough, which could hurt her body. You don't want to deliver someone of demonic attacks and the person is waking up sore the next morning. God is not a bitter God. I don't know, but I feel like speaking the word, if she's still going to, pardon me use the word, if she's still going to manifest, demonic, if she's still going to manifest, the entrance of the Spirit of God or the manifestation of God's power in her life, the word will still make her manifest it. And the ushers or people who are there to help you can actually help you to take her to a safer platform, a safer place, for the deliverance to continue. You just let God do His work. You don't need to pin the person down. This is I'm even seeing her eyes on her, her fingers on her eyes, and she has long nails. But I don't want to call people's attention, so I think the girl is fine. After the video, the girl was standing, she was fine, she was okay. So, which I felt eventually happened. They actually took her to a better place.
Says, thank
here.
you, Lord.
They took
Lord
her to a
Jesus,
safer
for
place,
everything you did
and
today. Over 100 young champions gave their life to Christ. God is reclaiming that what belonged to him, the
okay,
word.
you see here, she's in a safer place. I think this is okay. Yeah, and they are not really holding her like that. They are not holding her. So, and they continue with what they are doing. So, I think that's it majorly. The kingdom of God is not knife and sword now. At least we are not in that era. So I think this looks safer. This became safer. So something good was done after the whole first showdown. On the publicity, the world is actually going through a lot right now, and if you're actually going to evangelize, why not use the social media platforms? There's nothing wrong with evangelizing through the social media platforms. I bet in the times of Riyadh, Bonke, if there was social media, I'm very sure, they would have used the social media. They used videos and all that, and were able to watch most of the crusades. So I think evangelizing through media, it's fine, it's okay. I don't think it's so much of showmanship or something. It doesn't look like showmanship. But on the aspect of, I think where I have a concern is she doing the deliverance, because I actually researched from the period where she testified that she has become a Christian, she has given her life to Christ, to this particular time. It's just 4 months apart though. I don't now know if she has, done that before the testimony, but between the testimony and this deliverance is 4 months. And one thing I know well about Christianity is hierarchy, spiritual hierarchy. I don't expect that she will be the one anchoring a deliverance segment. No matter where the church was being represented, I expected that she will still have a leader she's still tutoring under, that she's a tutelage with or two. I don't know. The English is confusing right now. Like she's still learning the perks, the ropes of how to be a fervent Christian under a leadership. I don't expect that she's the one. I don't expect her to be leading a deliverance. It's not like she does not have the gift of deliverance. Anybody can have the gift of deliverance, but in terms of conducting, in terms of organizing the deliverance, there's a lot that has to be done. Spoken words, receiving from the Holy Spirit instructions on how to go about it. Because truth be told, it's not as if you don't have the gift of deliverance, but the way you go about it as, and then, to whom much is given, much is expected. If you are given such a gift in Christendom, I'm talking as a Christian, my own opinion, you go through some things as an individual, you go through some things under the tutelage of a leadership to be matured enough. If, for example, if you know you have the gift of deliverance, the first time you encounter a demon, without you necessarily having a solid background in Christianity, you might feel fear. Okay, you might feel afraid, you might panic, and these are the kind of things that is being worked on an individual in tutelage and Christianity. So what I'm trying to say, I personally didn't expect she would be the one heading a deliverance section based on the duration of her Christian work so far, or Christian journey so far. I expect she should still be learning the ropes. But there's nothing wrong with this. I just expected that, our fathers in the Lord will correct her. But funny enough, before I actually heard this show, I heard she has been charged. She has been charged to court a fine of 200 million naira or something. So, you see, these are part of the things, because you need to have this sense of organization. That actually prompted me to actually, I went to ask AI, and I was like, what is, the timeline? Because it's my own Christianity that kind of follows what Jesus did in his own ministry on earth. And then it was like calling of the disciples. Earlier, it happened early in his ministry. Period of learning and following. He said, for a time, the disciples simply followed Jesus, watched him teach, heal, and perform miracles. They have been trained by example. Okay, and sending out of the 12s about midway through his ministry, which is roughly a year to 2 years after they were called, were they now sent? Jesus formally commissioned them in Matthew 10, Mark 6, 7 to 13 as well, and Luke 9, 1 to 6, that it gives them authority over unclean spirits and power to heal, and tells them to preach that the kingdom of heaven has come near. And later sent out 72. Jesus explained the mission, sending out a large group of disciples 2 by 2 to towns he planned to visit. You see, so first he gave them the power. First, he commissioned them formally after a year or 2 years in ministry, and then he sent them out in twos. Well, as an example, this is like an example, because she didn't go alone, obviously. But the duration of our Christian walk to this, it looks fast to me, but there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody, nobody is above mistakes, and that is the Christian life. We correct with love, and then we don't shoot you down. There are more people needed in the ministry of the kingdom. So keep doing what you're doing, but please learn more. No, not keep doing that. I just feel the church that she's attending, put her through more. I mean, give her more guidance, before throwing her out like that. All right. Okay. So that is it for the topics that I have for you today. And so there's a segment I'm introducing to the show, which is the editor's note. And these are my personal opinions from research, from experiences, from what is going on in the media, what is going on around. I would say that I'm beginning to see that people are divided. I often see this in the Western world, their media, their perception, their opinion. But it's becoming more pronounced, even in the Nigerian society now. And I am indulging everyone to be careful of this, okay? This is what the Western world call the matrix system, all right? They either say you are misogynist, you are a feminist, it is about men and women, it's about right or wrong, it's about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, judging people based on their past. If you said this in the past, that is who you are in the present, and then of course it probably stems from our politics, and gradually now it's occurring to me as well, speaking right now, that our politics is not, there's no inclusivity enough. So there's a kind of divide where it's like we are being divided ethnically now. It's like the Igbos and the Gen Zs are for a particular political figure, and the millennials and the old people are for a particular political figure. That's what it's looking like now, right? And I think we need to be careful of this narrative, because if we feed into it, the powers that be are going to utilize it against us. Okay, we don't have the luxury of making mistakes. We don't, as people, as Nigerians, we don't have the luxury of going the wrong way. Our focus should always be on what we as people can overcome with our power. All right, whether it is Obi, whether it is Tinubu, it has nothing to do with who those people are, their ethnicity. That there's nothing, because now they're saying that there are some people called the city boys. There's nothing wrong with an Igbo man supporting Tinubu. They should not be castigated for supporting Tinubu. Everybody have their own opinions and they have their own reasons for doing things. Igbos should not attack the Obi Kubanas and cause of supporting Tinubu. You support who you are supporting in peace. Bring facts and figures on why you decide to support who you are supporting. It shouldn't be a witch hunt of, oh, you must be stupid for supporting Tinubu. And the big Cubana should not be saying their people are not educated for not supporting Tinubu. Like, what is going on in this country? These are not the things we should be pushing, because they are going to definitely be using these narratives against us. And don't be fooled. The media is designed in a way to manipulate our mind to go in a certain direction. Okay, so we have to be smarter. All right, it is not a situation of, oh, if it was a woman, it was a man that did this, now only God knows what they will have said. If it was a woman, because women are thinking like this is witchcraft. People can be terrible, whether they are men or women. The gender does not define who is terrible. There are men that sleep with their children. There are women that sleep with their children. It has nothing to do with the gender. It has to do with people's background and beliefs and the system at which they grew. So this whole narrative, pushing of narrative of attack on men or women, we have to think past that. We have to wake up, guys. Our media, especially the social media, the X especially, they are pushing these narratives too much to us. And then we see people so much antagonize women, when in a world, in a system like this, we all need each other. We all need one another. Men need women, whether they like and they not like. Women need men, whether they not like and they not like. We need one another. So when they start pitching us against each other, they are going to use it against us. We will be the one losing. Guys, most of these people you follow on X, they are paid propagandists. I don't even know if there's a word like that. They are paid to push these narratives. You don't even know the half of it. I have been in that world, I've lived it. You don't know the half of it. Really. You will be shocked that there are some people who are seated in a particular apartment given laptops, data to actually type something and trend it online. And you just innocently jump on it and be like, oh, it's true. It's like their agendas being pushed online. We really have to watch it, guys. Okay, so to not say much, that is my view on editor's notes today. Thank you very much for spending time with me again. And if this content, if this content is something you like, I'll indulge you to please subscribe so that you can always get fresh content whenever I post them. If it's of value to you and people around you, please share. But please, while you view it, help me press the thumbs up, so that it can get to more people if you feel it's educative enough anyway. So thank you very much once again for your time, and I hope to see you again next week, same time. All right, take care. Bye.